Welcome to another Pirkei Avot text explication. We are now on the 12th text in the 4th chapter of Pirkei Avot, and we have a tripartite statement, a three-part statement. We haven't seen many of these in this chapter, but this was certainly a more common style earlier on in Pirkei Avot. We have a statement from Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua. So Rabbi Elazar, son of Shammua. And so here is his three-part statement, his wisdom that he wants to share about honor. The first is, Yehi chavod talmidcha chaviv alecha kishelcha. May the honor of your student be beloved unto you as if it's your own honor. So we're going to keep going with this, and I'll come back and explain it, or describe, and analyze everything. The second one, chavod chavercha k'mora rabcha, that the honor of your friend, but I think colleague is really more of what the Hebrew is going for. The colleague, may the honor of your colleague be like the fear of your teacher. And finally, umora ravcha k'mora shamayim, and the fear or awe. I think actually awe is maybe a better translation. The translation I have in front of me is reverence. So awe, reverence, the reverence of your teacher should be like the reverence you have for heaven, God. Okay, so it's interesting because Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua here starts out by talking about honor, and then he transitions into talking about reverence or awe. And here he mentions, it's almost like there's a constant leveling up. That in the first one, whereas the honor that you might have, that someone towards their student, so there is inherently a hierarchy where you are above your student. Here he is advocating for considering the honor due to them be as your own, meaning don't necessarily lord your desire, not only desire for respect, but even sort of avoidance of disrespecting your own students. So that's a really interesting hierarchical relationship in the first of these, the first part of this three-part statement. Now the second one, now it's interesting because he mixes in both honor and reverence. In the first one he says, may the honor of your colleague be like the reverence or the awe that you're supposed to have for your teacher. So here we have a horizontal relationship. Make the horizontal relationship be like more of a hierarchical relationship like your teacher. So clearly you're supposed to be leveling up, but here you're elevating the honor of your colleague to be like the respect or more than respect, reverence for your teacher. So now you really want to give them, you're boosting them up. And then finally, the reverence that you have, or the awe for your teacher, who is already on a higher level. How could they get any higher up in sort of this hierarchy of reverence or awe? Well, make it like the reverence or awe that you have for God, for heaven. So it's interesting that really what Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua here is advocating in this piece of wisdom, his wisdom here is to always accord someone a greater degree of honor or reverence than they inherently you would expect in this hierarchy of relationships, mixing in both honor and reverence. So just to sum up here, Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua is saying elevate the honor that you have with you and the relationship between you and your students, and elevate it up to being as of your own, and make the honor that you would have for a colleague and level it up to the reverence you would have for your teacher, and level up the reverence you have for your teacher to be like the reverence you should have for God. So, to sort of dig beneath this, what I find fascinating is when one simply disrespects or has a lower degree of respect for one's students, how much can they grow, and what does that say about that relationship? How healthy can that be? But if you elevate their honor, they might feel more empowered. And certainly in a teacher-student relationship, they might feel more empowered with not only the knowledge, but even gaining further access to knowledge, and even further empowering your own relationship as the teacher-student relationship. And then even the collegial relationship, just as a colleague, if you elevate them, how much who knows, maybe they'll further elevate you. And then certainly the reverence one has for one's teachers, clearly the utmost here, which is even as much as God, which is an interesting one to think about hierarchically, elevating them even beyond humans, apparently, as far as the respect, the reverence one is to have, which is an interesting one. I'm not really fully sure how Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua works this one out, that one, but certainly for the other two, those are really fascinating. So this is certainly what he is advocating across the board is always elevate up the respect, honor, reverence one has for someone within the hierarchical relationship of a given field of knowledge. Here it's presumably Torah, knowledge of Torah, of Jewish life. So really interesting advice here from Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua, and thank you so much for watching.